playoff cap in the NHL that'll click in when the new deal clicks in a year's time. It is, I don't know, it's there. It's, it's all there.
It's there.
It's all there. What does it mean? Can you see that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
No idea.
Good question. No, look, the bottom line is there is going to be a form of a playoff salary cap that's going to attempt to close the loophole, or at least partially close the loophole of having a guy on LTIR for the bulk of the season or the whole season, in the case of maybe a Kucherov of old, and then put him in play for the playoffs and doesn't count against your cap because there is no cap in the playoffs in previous eras. Now, this doesn't kick in until 26, 27, right? So this coming playoffs is just, same old. And I think it tells you something, Jim, that part of this agreement is if they don't like the way it's working, they can reopen the agreement and tweak it a couple of years in, even though this CBA is for a handful of years more. So,
well, that's good. That's good news.
Well, what it tells you, though, is that they're not quite sure, right? If there are unintended consequences from this agreement, because as you know and I know, the one thing that capologists always figure out is another loophole.
That's right. Find the loophole.
When one loophole
Where's
closes,
Waldo? Find the loophole.
When one loophole closes, another one opens. Now, it's really quite technical, and I don't even know if it's worth discussing on air. But the bottom line is, you'll still be able to carry guys on LTIR, but there's going to be kind of two classes of LTIR players, by my reading of it. There's going to be a class of LTIR player that basically is deemed by the NHL and the NHLPA to have no chance of playing in the playoffs, in which case that's not going to be an issue. You can have him on LTIR. But if you've got a player that is, perhaps in play for the playoffs, in that case, by my reading of this document, you can only carry an extra number on the cap on the LTIR side of it that is equal to the average salary from the year before, which this year was $3.5 million. So they're trying to limit the amount of LTIR that's on the cap for guys who essentially are viable players in the current season or the current playoff season. Whether it'll work or not, whether the capologists will come up with a way to get around it, and we'll have what seems like the status quo, who knows? But the other thing is, Jim, which is going to be incredibly complicated, it seems to me, is that the salary cap in the playoffs is only going to apply to 20 players.
Right. Well, that's how many you can dress.
Right. As opposed to the current 23-man roster.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work either. It seems
seems
like a headache.
Probably more than one loophole.
I'll tell you who's going to make money off this. The capologists.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need more of them.
Done. Yeah. or somebody will figure out the loophole, and then the next year everybody will copy it.
Yeah. But there's going to be a lot of cap oversight built into this, I think. Like a lot more cap oversight. Like you're going to need to have guys keeping an eye on if you're compliant, game to game, minute to minute in the playoffs.
Compliance officer.
I don't love it. Yeah. I don't love it. I might
explore that.
There's already enough math in sports. This seems like they're adding a lot more math to sports, Jim.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No. And so in the late hours of the night, Ryan Reeves was moved to San Jose for Henry Thrun, blue liner. And so the Leafs save a couple $100,000 on that. And I'm told Thrun can be removed from the roster with no penalty, whereas Reeves would have carried some sort of like a $200,000 hit.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is the penalty for Ryan Reeves talking up the merits of living in Vegas to Mitch Marner.
There's a couple guys on that list.
Yeah, Max. We inferred from this that Max Pacioretty won't be back with the Leafs too.
And Yarncroc is on his way out.
After he was essentially an employee of the Nevada Tourist Board when it came to Mitch Marner's. Apparently now that we understand quite long consideration of life in Vegas, where he basically surveyed everybody who's ever played there, including current Leaf teammates or last year's Leafs teammates. I guess that's it for Ryan Reeves. Maybe the dream of 1,000 games for Ryan Reeves is now alive, because we talked about it the other day, right? He's 88 short or whatever it is.
Yeah, we put the kibosh on it, but so his deal expires this year. But I'm sure if there's a contribution with the Sharks, they could figure out a way how to extend that.
Well, who knows? I mean, hey, as I said at the time, no one expected this guy to play one NHL game. He's played 900 plus.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell him short.
No, absolutely not. So he was at an event in Vegas, and I believe that trade broke around 10 o'clock our time. which would be 8 there, a very early evening, and he's at an event in Vegas, and here's how he let it slip.
What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a line like this of fans waiting to greet them?
It's good to see that they still love me. I'm not going to lie. You guys are actually going to get the first scoops here. They may start hating me pretty soon because I just got traded to the Sharks. So we'll see how that goes over with the fans.
There he was on KTNV television, breaking the news in Fox Sports.
I'll tell you what, that's an impressive lineup of people.
It was.
In midsummer, going to get an autograph of a guy who doesn't even play for your hometown team anymore.
And considering all the other options, all the other entertainment options in that city.
Exactly. You know, like there is quite a bit to do in Vegas.
What do you want to do? A casino show? No, let's go down and see Ryan Reeves.
Go
He's
get
probably
Ryan
going to announce
Reeves.
his trade.
Go get Ryan Reeves' autograph on some memorabilia down at the convention center. I don't know, man. I give that town is interesting, man. Every time I've been there for hockey, it surprises me the amount of Golden Knights merchandise you see walking up and down the strip, the amount of Golden Knights paraphernalia you see, and every restaurant's got it behind the bar, every casino's got it somewhere, some kind of acknowledgement that the Golden Knights are important to that town. And I think, there's something to be said for being the first big team there, right? They're, baseball's going to move there. There's rumors basketball's going to get there. Obviously football's there, but hockey was first. The NHL was first, and
You remember the game they played in the parking lot, the Kings and whoever, with the grasshoppers all over the place?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's there's been some crazy moments in hockey history in the Nevada desert. But hey, man, Ryan Reeves is apparently, you can make a check showing up for an appearance in the desert when you don't even play for the team.
Yeah.
How about that?
And announce your trade to San Jose. We're going to play a mini Jerry's. My apologies. I don't like to infringe on anybody else's material, but it is Overdrive, and producer Cam said, got to play mini Jerry's. And I said, so, okay, if you're saying we do, there is a yes guy, no guy in here as well, and that's later on. But I'm going to throw a new game at you. It's called Mini Max.
Okay.
So this is trade deadline. We'll start with the Jays and maybe through the course of the 3 hours get to the Leafs or Raptors. But it's subjective. Your list. What's the minimum you could take out of the Jays doing at the deadline? What's the max? What's your dream?
Do you want me to start with the min?
Yeah.
I'd say the min in my mini max would be, got to be a starter, right? Like they need another arm. You can't pretend, or you can't really hope that Max Scherzer just continues to keep it together at age 40 with the condition he's been in this season, right? With the thumb, and everybody knows that he's had a hard time finishing seasons in the latter part of his career. So as much as you'd love Max Scherzer to be there for you when it matters,
Be nice, but
it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his intensity and his experience and his ferocity would be wonderful to have, and contagious even in that dugout. But, and then you think about, you've essentially had 3 tentpole starters all year, right? You've had Barrios, Bassett, and Gossman. Those are the 3 guys you can rely on. So you gotta add a big time arm to me. This has got to be a guy that you can count on to extend this rotation and give you more options, because you'd also love to see Alek Manoah back. And there's plans for that, but you can't plan on it.
yeah, that just doesn't have durability written all over it, does it? I mean, regardless of what you get out of him, you'd consider it a bonus, and you sure wouldn't want to have to depend on it just because. It could ruin his career.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it. He's coming back off serious stuff, and you gotta let that go at its own pace and can't be forced. It'd be nice if, hey, he's been pitching these simulated games, and it would be nice if he could find his way into a real game, come August, which is possible. But, to count on him in the biggest moments in September and hopefully October, I'm not sure you can go there. So that's my mini, is just, my minimum would be
One arm.
get an arm that can start and go from there.
So I should have prefaced this. After the All-Star break, the Jays will have 66 games. 14 games will be played going into the trade deadline. So that leaves them after the trade deadline, assuming they do something on July 31st. Maybe they do it before. 52 games in 59 nights. And the other premise is, you could look at it and say, well, they'll have clinched the division. I'm not counting on that. I mean, to me, that goes right to the end. So you may get extended on the last week or so of having to overplay, or you might use up a few arms and and you need the durability. So I would agree with you. The minimum for me is actually 2 arms, a starter and a bullpen pitcher. I was watching Steve Phillips on SportsCenter the other night, and he was talking about bringing in a reliever so you could move Hoffman a little deeper in terms of what he has to do and just set him up better. And because of, there's going to be a lot of wear and tear here. I would agree with that. I stayed away from adding a bat because I looked at it when Santander, Varsho, Vladdy, Jimenez. If Vladdy gets to where he should be, and if those other 3 guys are healthy and can contribute at a level they should, maybe you don't need a bat.
Yeah. That would be a big maybe, though, right?
Well, all of this is predicated with how big the lettering is on maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm going to my max, I'm going to want a bat because, Anthony Santander, there's a reason you brought him in because he was a 44 home run guy a year ago, but he's giving you next to nothing this year given the injury struggles, and you just have no idea what you're going to get if and when he gets over the injury struggles, right?
Because he wasn't established as a Blue Jay before.
And part of that was he clearly wasn't looking healthy, especially, before they sat him down. Before they sat him down,